Jerry Bovino. We're back with Antique Week in Aspen, Colorado. We've got the Tiffany boys, Lary Matlick, the cool guy, and Ben Macklowe, the heir apparent to the Macklowe Gallery fortune, or fortunes, as I should say. Tell us a little bit about how you prepare for an antiques show. I know these happen around the country. What do you do?
Well, one of the first things we do is draw up a plan of the booth. So we know the size, the area that we're going to work with, what we're going to bring besides the objects, but the tables that we set our objects up onto. And then we go through a list of objects that we want to bring. We bring our own jewelry case, and so therefore we could display our jewelry properly.
Okay, is security a problem, Ben? Are you worried?
Oh, sure.
In a place like Aspen normally, but we've had stuff taken here.
I mean, look, if somebody comes in with a gun, they're going to take all of it, and there's nothing I can do, even though there's going to be an armed guard there.
Right.
I like my life, and I like Larry and my dad's life more than I like any of the pieces. That said, what normally happens that you have to be concerned about is somebody who tries to sneak a piece out of you, and we're pretty...
You're watching it.
We're New Yorkers.
It's not,
we're skeptical by nature.
It's not your first rodeo, but I was telling Larry the story that I went in years ago into a jewelry store on 47th Street, and I talked to the guy, schmoozed a little bit, who do you know, this and that, and he said he comes to Aspen once in a while, and then within 15 minutes he had my wife trying on this really expensive diamond thing, and he said, well, just wear it out, just take it home, wear it out tonight and see if you like it, and it was like a giant number, and I said to him, are you crazy? You just met me. He said, it's my business. I know my business. It was an interesting...
There's something about the handshake nature of our business that it's really gratifying to be able to trust your own instincts enough to give somebody a $50,000 piece of jewelry and let them walk out the door.
Right, exactly. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is, but it's, nobody would ever sell a house without having, 100 pages of contract.
Yeah,
but our business isn't like that.
And it's also reading people, isn't it?
Oh,
Ben?
absolutely.
How important is it for you to read people? You get some retail people that come in, right?
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And can you tell a buyer from a tire kicker?
Yeah.
How
99 times out of 100.
How can you tell? What's the secret? You tell us your secret.
Well, there's body language. There's the way they speak to you. I find that if I get into a conversation with somebody and they're too complimentary about my things, it means that they're not going to be buying anything.
Right. But if they're saying, it's not really that shiny.
And unless you're feeling that little bit of nervousness and remorse, like, Jesus, I actually could spend some money here, am I going to? If they're just so effusive and so nice, 99 times out of 100, they're just in a museum tour, and that's okay too. We want everybody to be jazzed about what we sell.
Right. Okay, and sometimes they learn about it and they come back another time. And can you tell, do you think, if a buyer's from...
Yeah, I could tell you a very funny story about a buyer. A man and his wife came into the gallery one day, and they're looking around upstairs, but they were more interested in the decorative arts that are downstairs. So I took them downstairs and I said, by the way, my name is Larry. What is yours? He says, I'm not going to give you my name. So I'm thinking to myself, he's telling me that he has a lot of money. I'll know who he is once he tells me his name, and so therefore he doesn't want me to ask a large price. So I knew I had a buyer.
Okay, there you go. And did he turn out to be a buyer?
Absolutely. He spent an awful lot of money with me.
It's a beautiful thing. Do you get celebrities in the store too? I'm sure.
All the time.
Are they easier or more difficult to deal with than just Joe Blow?
Sometimes I'd say they try to hide the fact that they're famous. And then when they realize you know who they are and you're treating them like just a regular Joe, they open up and they become a real person.
They like that because they are real. Most of them are real people.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
But they're put in these crystal bubbles, and then
and we keep our clients' privacy private.
Yeah, you should.
It's important. It's really important. The only person I can say something about is Martha Stewart, because the poor thing's been dragged through the press enough. But right when she was having all of her troubles and was about to get convicted and go to jail, she stopped in the store to have a repair done, because I repair her jewelry for her. I was trying to restring a strand of pearls. And so she was in a talkative mood, so we were sitting and talking. And I looked outside, and I realized there was a paparazzi taking her photograph. And I said, Martha, what do you want to do? She said, fuck, excuse me, screw him.
Right.
I'm just, I don't care. And so she was trying on some jewelry and just sort of playing around. She wasn't buying anything, but she was just having a little retail therapy. So I actually took her downstairs out the back way, and she left. And I went back upstairs, and the guy was still sitting there waiting. And so I walked out. I said, "Look, she's gone." And he said, "All right, tell me, what'd she buy? What'd she buy?" He was trying to sort of get some information from me. He said, "I'll get you the front page of the Post." I said, "Sir, I have nothing to say to
Yeah,
you.
really,
I
really.
know you have a job to do,
That's
you know,
good.
but I got to protect her privacy.
So, let me ask you a question. What's the best piece you ever had in your store?
No, it's these pieces, Jerry. That's why we brought them on the
well,
Jerry Bovino
we're going to get
show.
to these pieces in a minute, but something that you might have sold, not something in current inventory. What's your best piece that you think about that piece, say, oh boy, I wish I had that back.
Well, actually, at the moment, we have it.
We have it back.
We have the piece.
Okay.
There is a Tiffany lamp that eluded us 30 years ago. And we didn't know who owned it, but we knew somebody had it
How did you know it existed?
because we heard about it through the grapevine 30 years ago. The lamp, it seems, turned up somewheres out west. I'm not going to say exactly where, but we were offered that lamp. And we bought that lamp approximately, I'd say 9 months ago. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And it was the prize of prizes. It's a Tiffany lamp that we know that less than 10 were ever made. And we know of 8 of them, and 5 of them are in museums.
Wow.
We have number 6. We know of 2 more in private collections, and we don't know of any others. So
And
that's,
what would be the dollar value of something like that, Larry?
it's in the millions.
Millions of dollars.
Yes.
Why are Tiffany lamps so valuable? Explain that to our viewers.
Well, one of the reasons, when they were originally made, they were made as works of art. They were made by choosing the glass that was either made by Tiffany, Tiffany Studio, or by other famous glass manufacturing companies. They were designed by famous designers such as Tiffany or a few people that we now know of. And the choice of the glass was arranged like a painting with glass. The prices originally were very, very high for the better pieces.
So these were sold to affluent people.
Absolutely.
And as a general rule of collecting, something that was sold to the masses 100 years ago isn't going to go up in value tremendously, but a good thing, a Patek Philippe watch, or something where that will have value because it was a limited edition. You want to talk to that concept?
Yeah, well, you know, there's 2 sides to that coin.
Absolutely.
The truth of it is if something was made in a great multiple, that means it was really popular. So some of those things are incredibly collectible today, even though they might not be super expensive, but there's a market for them. You know, one of the biggest challenges for people when they're thinking about collecting antiques is actually finding an area where there's enough good stuff that they can sink their teeth into it. You know, the lamp that Larry was talking about in the millions is only for a very, very small percentage of even, you know, hardcore Tiffany collectors. But the, you know, other lamps like this, you know, 7-light Lily here, it's in the $35,000 price range. For a well-to-do person, that's something that they can conceive
Yeah,
of
it's
doing.
a beautiful lamp. Or tell us about that lamp, the
Yeah.
7-light Lily.